So Saudi Arabia, each team comes out with 5 riders. At this stage, only 4 ride at a time, so they can replace a rider. And that was Mittel, what we call a full house. He's taken all 3 objects, 666, so he scored full points, and his time is good, so he'll get 18 points added to the Saudi Arabia score. You'll see on the track we have Mr. Rafat Al-Wad. He's an international flavor judge here. He's come all the way from Sudan. We have 3 international judges on the jury panel, Fahad Hussein, Rafat Al-Wad, and the head of jury, who's the chief judge, is Mufta Al-Harasi from the UAE, Fahad from Qatar. The rest of the judge contingent consists of South African gold badge judges, all here from South Africa. The red flag's up. Obviously something on the track just needs to be adjusted. Weather conditions today, very challenging. You'll see we've had quite a bit of rain overnight, and we've got some wind. The wind will be directly in the face of the riders, so it'll make it quite difficult for them. The speed of the horse stays the same. As they've got 7.5 seconds between the speed reaches, which are approximately 70 meters apart. Well, not approximately, but definitely 70 meters apart. And they measured at 7.5 seconds. Lovely to be here in George, one of the picturesque places of South Africa. All 9 countries enjoying themselves here. On the track, Abdul Wahad Asiri. Hard lines there to Abdul Wahad. You see, he took 2 rings, he missed the peg. Abdul Wahad has been one of the top riders here. He, on the first day, got a gold medal. Second day, gold medal. What happens here at the World Cup, we ride day 1, day 2, day 3. You can individually win day 1, day 2 and 3, and the cumulative score wins the World Cup. The first day Jordan took the gold medal, and the second day Saudi, but Saudi up on points. South Africa unfortunately had a bit of a slow start, so they're hoping to make up. They're a few points behind.
I'm sure that you'll all agree that we'll hold all our thumbs crossed for our South African team. They are lining up there at the beginning of the track. It's a new day, new challenge, a lot of wind, and believe me if I say there's a lot of tension between the riders. As you've just seen, it's not easy in the conditions. The objects are small, the rings are small, it's not easy. So let's see what the number 4 rider for Saudi does.
Number 4 rider.
Number 4 rider is Hassan Omar Asiri. He'll be the 4th rider for Saudi. He's got a bit of a face mask on. It's a bit cold for them this morning. He's a very talented rider. You see from yesterday. And that's what we call a full house. 666. Brilliant.
And mind you, at a very, very, very high speed as well. The whole tournament he's actually been riding at quite a speed to actually get all these objects done at that speed is a lot of skill. You need a lot of skill to really be able to do that. Over to you there, Brendan.
I'll tell you, I'll just give you some background information about the World Cup. South Africa won the first World Cup 2014 and have since been runner-up in the next 2 World Cups. But the standard on us has really increased from all the other countries. ITPF started with 13 countries. There's now 40 countries, over 40 qualifying for this event, and the top 9 coming out here. And you'll see Saudi and the Jordanian riders really standards improved, and that's why at the top of the table at the moment.
Well, I think you will agree with me. Any of the 5 top teams at this moment can win this competition. And there's another full house that's just gone by. You heard the people just clapping hands and so on. As I said, any of the top riders and any of the top teams at this moment can still win this.
Yes, that was our first Jordanian rider. He was Ahmad Ashlan. Just to give you some background there as well, the Jordanians qualified at the Pakistan qualifier in Lahore. 2 teams qualified out of the pool in Pakistan, and that was Pakistan and the Jordanians came just second to Pakistan there. So they're hoping to improve on that. Really, they've come out, you can see they're well prepared, and that 6 points, 18 points does wonders for their score here, and
Well,
really they're well prepared.
Well, especially if that's your number one rider, that just gives the team so much, what's the right word? So much oomph and so much.
some impetus going into,
Yeah.
into the morning. Yes,
So
yes,
that
yes,
helps a
correct.
lot to just put everybody on a high. So you couldn't ask for a better start for the team.
Yeah.
Oops.
Also, what you see that was Hussam Al-Khazai from Jordan. He unfortunately missed the peg there. But what you see in past years, there's been different techniques with the rings, and I see most of the teams are using the South African overarm technique. They're perfecting that as well. So something that they've taken over with a bit of South African flavour, and it's working for them.
Next rider from Jordan, Omar, number 8.
It's also very important, you'll see the peg stewards there. Everything must be in a direct straight line. It needs to all be aligned correctly. Between the gallows, between the 2 rings, there's a 15-meter gap and a 20-meter gap between the last ring and the peg. You'll see a lot of accuracy goes into just putting the pegs in, making sure everything's correct there.
South Africa's top horses are young. And yes, so...
Also a bit of background there is that these horses are all South African horses. They've all been pooled. They've come 60 of the best horses from South Africa, and they get drawn here. So each one of these riders has a drawn horse.
That's how it's done.
And they've had 6 runs on the previous 2 days just to get used to their horse, and then they've got to compete on it. So everybody is riding on a strange horse.
The run that you've just seen is incredible. The rider scored a full score of 18 points, which is 6 for the first ring, 6 for the second ring, and 6 for the peg. And that is what we call a full house. And that puts a lot of pressure on the teams following, because obviously you cannot afford to make any mistake. And hence the reason why there's such a huge competition going on here in George. I think the next team is our South African team. They are preparing at the back of the track. Jordan is just completing their first run here, and then we'll be able to see our South Africans in action.
Hard lines there. That looked like it's Abdel he's the last rider from Jordan. Unfortunately left a ring behind and left the peg. You'll see the judge, Rafat Awad, will move towards the peg. He'll have a look. You must strike points on the face of a peg. This specific peg is a 6 centimeter in breadth. And he makes a final judgment. If you strike the peg, it stays in the hole, you get 2 points. If you strike the peg, it comes out of the hole. We call that a draw. It gets drawn from the ground, you get 4 points. And if you carry the peg for more than 6 meters, you get a full score of 6 points. You'll see there's a time meter just behind the judges, 10 meters, and that's a carry. Anything over that line will give you 6 points. The other way of getting 6 points, if you happen to break the peg, you'll also get 6 points.
Thanks for that explanation, Brendan. That rider missed a ring, which meant that he lost 6 points, as well as 4 points on the peg, which meant that he did not have a perfect score of 18. He actually lost 8 points on that run.
Yeah, that's not going to do Jordan's chances any good. They were actually first after the first day. They were in incredible form. They just ran into a few blips yesterday in the sword events, which just plugged them back from first to fifth. But the team still to watch is Saudi. Honest, Saudi have just been consistent. I think his hard work has been going in Saudi, and you see the level of riding in Saudi has just been great. South Africa, as I said, got off to a slightly slow start, and they're battling to catch up. The conditions haven't been good, so it's made it difficult for them. But our first rider here for South Africa looks like Burger Heckrut. And there we go, full house, 18 points for Burger Heckroodt. Burger is from nearby Kimberley, from the Big Hole. Him and his wife are part of the South African team, Beverly. Beverly originally hailed from KwaZulu-Natal, also out of a tent pegging family there. So husband and wife team, it's not often that happens in a World Cup. So we've also got a lady flavour to the South Africans. It's not just men that do this. We've got 2 ladies in our South African team. And it's good to have them there. It's good that they're in the merit teams of South Africa. The only, I think, another lady from Norway, yeah, so there's 3 ladies competing in this World Championships. Beverly will be the next one. Let's see how she does.
Yes, and Beverly has really stepped up and been one of the more consistent riders in South Africa, so it's worth a watch. Ladies and gentlemen, just watch her as she comes.
Very important the horses are lined properly when they take off. A lot of technique to this. Unfortunately, you can see in her face, you could see she looked away from that peg just at the ring at the last minute, looked at the peg. Unfortunately, she clipped that one off.
Yeah, that's a pity though. And once again, that places a lot of pressure on the 2 remaining riders for South Africa to try and ride a full score of 18 per round. Let's see what they are. I can see the riders preparing at the bottom there. I can't see who they are.
Jacqueline Brits, I think, coming on. Also a lady rider. No, it's Johan Jordan that will be taking up the reins for this run. Johan Jordan, a very experienced international rider. He's actually an ex-world champion. He's captaining the side, so hopefully a full score from him will help us out. We're under pressure a little bit here, South Africa. We need to move up, and the only way we can do that is by our full scores. We're looking for 18 scores full. But Johan, let's see what he does. Time is looking good. His horses seem to be running quite well. He's sent, unfortunately, over the peg. Hard lines there to Johan. I think as South Africans, our hearts all sort of drop slightly if a South African drops a point.
Yeah.
Knowing the position they're in and they need to catch up, so that's not going to do our chances much.
That was a 6-6 and a 0. That places a lot of pressure as South Africa has now dropped with 12 points. The first 3 riders, we've dropped 12 points, which places a lot of pressure. I think it's Armand lining up at the back there.
Yes, definitely.
It's Armand van der Merwe. He's our next South African rider, also a very experienced rider. We hope that he will be able to help us and see if we can get those 18 points that we really need now.
Yes, Armand was part of the team that went to the qualifier in Sudan. They qualified in Khartoum. They're part of that qualifier, the African qualifier, although not just African countries were involved in that qualifier. As I said, 40 countries started this, more than 40 countries started this process, and eventually the top 9. Maybe just give you a rundown. Besides Saudi Arabia, we've got Saudi Arabia, Jordan, South Africa, Oman. We've got Yemen. I think it's the first time in history that Yemen has come to South Africa. We've got Norway, we've got India, Egypt, and Pakistan. India and Pakistan, age-old rivals in tent pegging. Yazar Manta, let's have a look what he can do. We're desperate for 18 points. 6-6, looking very good. And there.
Hey, good one.
As you can see by the crowd's reaction, we're all happy with that. As I said, Anna, it's not the easiest conditions today. The wind in the faces of the riders, it makes it difficult to penetrate the rings. What's your feeling on that?
Oh, Brendan, most definitely. We've seen it. The first 3 teams have competed now, and each team has made mistakes. And the mistakes are not made intentionally. We all know, ex-riders and old riders, how difficult the conditions are. The wind is really unpleasant. The wind is strong. Those rings are not hanging still. The horses obviously play a role. We've had some rain. The track is wet and it's heavy. So all of these factors actually contribute to it's more difficult to do everything, you know. So most definitely, I think all the teams are going to have that difficulty, but surely the conditions are the same for everyone. The teams that are really going to excel is really going to go forward in this competition. So let's watch them closely. as the next team prepares, and that's the team of Oman. I think it's, I can't see that rider.
It's Ahmed Al-Riyami. He was the first rider there. He unfortunately missed the second ring. Oman also wanting to make a good position in this competition. They were lying about fifth last night. In fact, they'd actually come up. They were lying joint seventh with South Africa after the first day. So what we call the second day is the moving day. In 10 pegging, in golf it's usually the third day, but the moving day is the sword day. And they definitely moved up the rankings. South Africa just stayed stable. They just couldn't get into a rhythm. But yeah, Oman is the head office of ITPF is in Oman, and the Omanis have put a lot of effort into 10 pegging, and it's nice to see them out in the qualifier. They've improved in leaps and bounds as well, the Oman riders. The conditions, as you said, they should suit South Africa actually, because I think most of the Middle East riders are used to fair weather, hot weather, the cold weather. You'd think it would suit us, so let's see what happens here. And the next rider there would be Hamed Al-Resi, also very experienced. Unfortunate there on the first one. You can see his horse not carrying the line so well. Could be the footing conditions. What do you think there, Hannes?
Yeah, most definitely. I can see the track is already showing its age, you know, and we're not even, we're only at the fourth team. There are going to be 9 teams. And I can see that the track is really showing that the traffic is heavy. So yes, it's going to be difficult as the day goes on. You tend to find that the horse normally wants to either go to the left or to the right, which makes it a lot more difficult for the rider to keep the horse on the same line or the right line to get underneath the rings. So yes, I think we're not going to see the highest standard of rings that we've seen in the world, but it's going to be interesting. Let's see the next rider.
Yes, you're quite right. Heavy conditions the horses tend to move out of the heavy condition, try to move in a smoother condition, and the more the track churns up, the more it'll have that effect on them. But let's see. This is our third rider now from Oman. Is Ahmed Al-Balushi. Also an experienced rider, qualified in Oman. In the Oman qualifier, there's 4 or 5 countries that went to the qualifier there, the second qualifier, and Oman actually won the qualifier there. So they're feeling confident. They think they've got a chance of winning this. There we go, 18 points. With riding like that, you know why they think they've got a chance.
Well, most definitely, because the conditions are so difficult, and any rider riding 18 or earning 18 points for his team most definitely contributes hugely towards the team score. And as Brendan has said earlier, it's all about the team doing well. It's not the individual. This is a team competition. The World Championship is won by the team. Although we have best riders per day, but it's all about the team. So every single point counts. Over to you.
What we didn't mention earlier is that the rings are also 6 centimeters in diameter, and a ring you could score on 0 or 6. You cannot draw it. You cannot hit it off. You score nothing for hitting off the ring or striking a ring. You have to carry it. It may fall off just before the peg when your lance go down towards the peg, but you don't get any. You score full 6 points then. Yeah, it looks like unfortunately there's a slight draw on that peg. As the judge says, Rafati said 4 points. You'll see it's been struck on the face and just not carried the full 10 meters.
Oh, that is a perfect example of a drawn peg. It means the peg has been struck, it's out of the ground, and then the rider earns 4 points. Should the peg just move, but it still stays in the ground and it has a mark on the face, the rider earns 2 points. And obviously, if the rider carries or strikes the pin and carries the peg, he earns 6 points. As Brendan said, the rings are less difficult to judge. It's either you have it or you don't. So you either get 0 or 6 points.
Yeah, and it has to carry at least, well, it must carry at least towards the peg, which makes it maybe difficult in these conditions sometimes. But yeah, who's our first? Looks like our first rider from Yemen is now on the track. Our first rider, Ahmed, no, I lied to you, it's Abdullah Al-Maghiri. Abdullah is, they also qualified in the Oman qualifier. Iraq is not here, but they were unlucky because Iraq was only about 1 point behind Yemen in the qualifier. So they're unlucky to be here as well. It was it's sort of a ding-dong battle between Yemen and Iraq to qualify for this championship. So Oman taking it also only by about 4 points. So that qualifier was hotly contested. And it's nice to see. As I said, this is the first time a Yemen team has been here in South Africa. And what an honor to say that, George, we're hosting the first Yemen tent pegging team here.
Yeah, let's just have a look. Was that 0-0 on the rings, Brendan?
I think it was 0-0.
I couldn't follow from where I'm sitting. I only viewed the peg, and
there we go. That looks like a full house though. So that looks like Abdullah Aziz Omar. Abdullah Aziz Omar. He's one of the younger riders here, but he's doing very well. He's pulled out a full house there for his team.
Yes,
they definitely need it after that those two misses.
Yeah, most definitely. So that number 4 rider most definitely contributed very well there. And then our next team is going to be the team of Norway preparing down there. They are a very young side and a very young team. They were flown in pretty late as Sudan withdrew. They couldn't get their visas in time, so the preparation for Norway hasn't gone all that well, but they are here and they are very keen. So let's see how successful they are in their first run on the rings.
It's very sad about Sudan, honest. It's one of our African brothers. We'd like to have had them down here in South Africa. But unfortunately, we know what's happening there, and it's made it very difficult for those riders to get to South Africa. Yes, what looks like he's only taken 1 ring. It actually didn't show so nicely. 0 definitely. Rafat says on that second ring. He's definitely the youngest rider here. I think he's only about 18 or 19. Yeah, you have to be 16 or older to compete in the World Championships, but. Yeah, definitely a young rider with a lot of potential for Yemen, and shows that they're building there in Yemen.
Yes.
Also not an easy country because they've also got a few internal problems. So it's nice that they could actually make it to this, and the conditions they sometimes practice in aren't always the best. So nice to have them here though.
It's actually unbelievable watching the championships yesterday to see the standard of riding, the overall standard of riding of riders. Unbelievable horsemen. Some of the best horsemen in the world that you'll be seeing here, traveling on roughly 40-45 kilometers an hour, striking these objects.
Yeah, he makes it look easy, although he had a 0 there. It didn't show so easy here from us, but he missed one of the rings there. So Yemen, they did very well at the Oman qualifier. They've battled a bit in our conditions, I think. They've been... I actually had my money on them being one of the top 3 this year, and they've probably disappointed there, but I had a lot of hope in the young Osama. He had an exceptional qualifier, and he was on top form. I mean, he won all 3 days there, and I thought he'd produce better results here in South Africa, but they've battled. Maybe the occasion's got a bit big for them, but it's nice that they're here.
Most definitely. Let's see the next rider preparing. I think it's the team of Norway now, right?
Yeah, it is Mamoun Akram. He's the captain of the team.
He's the captain of the
Him
team.
and his brother. They actually, when they're not pegging, they're both surgeons. So medical doctors, surgeons there in Norway. It's nice that they could make time. As you said, they started this very late because Sudan withdrew at a late stage. We could understand the circumstances. They tried their best to try and get out here. So Norway had to fill in. They came 3rd in the qualifier in Sudan, Norway, and as a result, that's why they qualified. They qualified out of that pool. So as I say, countries like Iraq had higher scores, were unfortunately in other pools. So Norway can count themselves lucky to be here, but it's nice to have them here. They're also a young country. They'll be exposed to something else. Yeah, in South Africa.
Let's talk about what's happening here this morning, Brendan. I am still a firm believer Egypt, our last two world champions was Egypt, and I firmly still believe that Egypt is going to come today with a big bang and upset everybody. So watch out, they are still preparing, but they are not world champions for nothing. So don't write them off. I firmly believe that they are going to show the rest of the world something here today on rings and on lemons, not taking anything away from any other team.
I think I tend to agree with you. They're sort of just sleeping there in third place. They've just sort of come up the ranks. They're just sleeping there in third place, and they're waiting for these gallows. Traditionally, this is the area where South Africa put their grip on a championship. But these countries have
Taking
improved so
anything
much.
away from any
South
other
Africa in the
team.
past have relied on these two events to sort of to bridge the gap if there's any gaps. But unfortunately, I say we had a bit of a slow start, so our gap's a bit big. But I think Egypt's the one who's going to do it this year. They've sort of stepped. They've been in the prizes every day, just not gold or silver. They've been there third, and they've been up there fourth. So they're sleeping, and I think they're awake this morning. I think.
You must
I
remember.
tend to agree with you.
You must remember, they're not world champions for nothing. They know what pressure is like. They know how to cope with pressure. So I think really we are going to see some excellent pegging from them. I watched them when they were warming up the day before the competition, and they looked very, very sharp at that stage. So I'm really looking forward to their competition starting very, very soon. As we said earlier, between the top 4 or 5 countries, there are only a few points difference. So every single point that is not scored could mean that you are going to drop a place, maybe 2 even. Isn't that true, Brendan?
Yes, you're quite right. Because with rings, I mean, you leave 12 points behind, and then all of a sudden you're behind. So there's always a ding-dong battle here, and when the final scores sort of come through to us, we'll be able to see exactly what's happening. We'll be able to see last night. This is what the teams, this is where they were, and we'll be able to say, listen, Egypt have moved up. But as you're quite right, most of them are mostly have got military or police backgrounds. The Egyptian team, so they're lucky in the fact they get quite a bit of practice time. But that's what makes them so good and so sharp, and they're well prepared. Had a bit of a chat to the manager yesterday, Aya. She's a character, between the 10 peggers. We all know her well.
Yes, yes.
Sort of very fiery, and she's fired up. She thinks her team's going to take it. I think us as South Africans were a bit down this morning after yesterday. Moving day, we thought we'd move, and we didn't really move. But yes, on the track, still Norwegian team. This is one of the other ladies, Marie Bakker from Norway. And it's nice to see that there's some ladies developing in the rest of the world.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice run from her. I see she drew the peg,
Norwegian team. This is one
which
of the
gives
other
her
ladies.
4 points, and she missed the peg, a ring unfortunately. So she had a great total of 10 points for that run.
This will be a big learning experience, I think, for Norway. I mean, they've also never come to South Africa. I think it's also their first trip to South Africa. It'll be a big learning experience. They've experienced, let's say, the different type of riding in the Middle East. And I think if you look at the Norwegian team, they've got a bit of Middle East flavour. In fact, their coach is from Saudi. So that said, Saudi has also come out to South Africa in the past few years for some training, because we've got some of the best coaches here in the world. So they like to come out, and they've taken on board, and you can see it. They're developing at a fast pace, and now we've got Norway sort of doing some training in Saudi, so they're getting the same influence there. So they'll come through. Although they're young in the sport, still Norway, compared to some of our other countries like us and India and Pakistan, have been riding for 70 to 80 years already. It's nice to see the Norwegians coming through.
Yes, this is going to be a very good learning curve for them, and I can say that being their PRO, I've listened to them. They're very excited, and they've learned a lot from this World Championships. So I think they are going back home with a lot of enthusiasm, and we are going to see them growing and growing in huge numbers and in huge bounds.
Oh, it's nice to hear. Actually, we should have mentioned it earlier. You appointed as PRO for the Norwegian team, so you've had a lot to do with them, being around them. They also can sort of help them through the process when they come to a new country. So you've had a lot to do with them, so you know where their mindset is at this stage and what they're expecting to get out of this World Championships.
Quite right, quite right.
And I suppose an experience on your part too, to meet all these international flavoured people sort of in our country.
Very much so. It's really been a privilege, and it's really incredible thing for anybody, not just the people involved, just to have all these excellent riders in South Africa.
Yes, and that was the first rider from India, Dinesh Kaltakar, or Kaldakar.
Thing for
You'll see they're
anybody.
he's using the underarm
Not just the
technique.
people I see, involved.
Just
yeah.
to mention that a bit earlier, that most of us are now using most
The
countries
overarm.
are using the overarm, which is a South African technique, and the Indians are still using the underarm. We tend to think it's not as consistent a technique, but all good to them. They had 18 points. And India
True.
also up there. They're one of the countries that we're looking at. They were third in overall points last
True,
night.
true.
So yeah, they're coming over the bang, and obviously want a point to prove, because the South Africans have sort of had them down for a couple of years, and traditionally we big rivals, especially because they're cricket playing countries like us, India and Pakistan. So there's always a bit of internal
Yeah,
rivalry
a lot of
between
rivalry,
us, because we all sort of talk the same sporting language. So they
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
They want to show us this time that they back. I think the last time was we beat them in Asia, in the Asian Championships. So they want to prove a point here. There, beautiful. Look at
Wow.
that. Look at that. Another full house there.
Another full house for them,
Yes,
eh?
yeah, that was Amar Chetri. Most of these riders are from, well, the Indian riders. They're all, I think, mostly in Calcutta or Calcutta, I think, based there. But they also, I think, they've had a training camp. They want to prove a point. Yeah, one of the military stations.
Yeah,
and,
beautiful.
Look at, they prepared quite well for this competition.
Yes, I also think that our South African horses are some of the better 10-pegging horses in the world. They are a lot calmer than some of the horses in other countries, but we can actually see that the riders are actually excelling on our horses in South Africa to such a way that the cards are all mixed up at the moment. If you look at the top 4 or 5 spots, the riders are really coming to their own, you know.
Yeah, I think well, they just have to adjust to the speed. I think their horses are used to a slightly faster horse there. Our horses aren't as fast here; they're a bit more controlled. There we go. It looks like he's only got one ring.
He's only got one ring there.
I think he missed the first one there, so 12 points. Confirmation there by the judge, 0 on the first one. So probably only 12 points for the run. So they've dropped one ring between the teams. But seeing what's happened, each team's had a bit of a blip here and there, so not the end of the world. There's very few teams have gone through with 18-point score for all 4 riders.
That's correct. So I think we'll probably end up having very little movement between the teams, though. But we'll keep you updated as we go along and as we find out what the final scores are.
Yeah, no, you're quite right there. Yeah, conditions obviously you can see it, because usually these riders, they don't miss much. So conditions are definitely playing a role here today. And that sort of, it makes the scoring difficult, because you usually know this one's missed, that country's missed or not missed. And now with them missing a few in each team, you battle to sort of keep up to exactly who's on form.
Quite true, and just to say to our viewers, yeah, sorry about the peg, but I think he's got both his rings there, eh?
He has, and that's why I think that underarm technique comes into play. Honestly, you see when he's taken the 2 rings, his point's still standing in the air.
Yeah.
And he hasn't
More
got much
difficult
time
to
to
get
get
it
the
down.
point down to the ground,
Yes.
you know. So that's the inconsistency we speak of with underarm technique. Plus, you know, with underarm technique, the hand tends to be a little bit behind the eye, and you'd want your hand a bit in front of your eye. So, yeah, that's a perfect example. There's that timing between the last ring and the peg that's maybe caught up to him there.
Yes, and then our last 3 teams are really between the top 5. That's India, Egypt and Pakistan. So you'll be entertained by top 10 pegging now. those are the teams that are in the top 5 at the moment.
Mustafa Idris here. So India, this is going to be their first run. Mustafa Idris, this is what you were talking about. You'll see these Egyptians that come to play. We'll see also underarm technique there. Good on the underarm technique. Brilliant there. And that horse wasn't
That's
running
what
too
you want.
fast, you know. You actually want a free-flowing horse. He's also a little bit slow there. Obviously, conditions playing a factor there. But 18 points.
Couldn't ask for a better start.
Couldn't ask for a better start.
Hey?
I got a time penalty there because the horse was a bit slow. But
Yes.
I think they'll take that. They'll take a time
Well-
penalty at any time and rather have you know, full score.
If you and I were riding, we would most definitely rather take the time
Yes,
penalty.
I
Hey?
think that's the belief of South Africans. When we even go to other countries, we'll take the time penalty. We just want the score, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Rather ride slower and get your objects than go at a high speed and miss.
Yeah. There, another underarm technique. Oh, when you see there coming into play,
Yes.
that point coming down a bit slow.
Let's just see what the score on the peg is. He got a 6, 6 and a 2, which meant that he dropped 4 points, which is still very, very good at this level. If the following 2 riders can continue their form, then
Sure, they'll move
Egypt-
up the rankings. They'll move up the
Egypt
ranks.
will have moved up the rankings most
Yeah.
definitely.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, let's see what number 3 rider does.
Quite interesting that they're using the underarm technique. You know, being a country that's so high up there. Most of the countries sort of evolve out of the underarm technique
Into the overarm technique, yeah.
They seem to have come with underarm technique. Obviously, this horse running a bit faster makes it a little bit easier. Oh, very close, very close. But as I mentioned again, we're harping on it a bit, but that point's getting down a bit slow, especially in these conditions.
True.
And that's what's maybe
And
getting them.
that cost him a ring as well.
He's given a 4 there. Sometimes that can be a dig out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't strike the face of the pig and it digs the pig out and you actually get 0 and you think you've got 4 points. But he's lucky. He must have caught it on the toe.
Yeah, was that a 6, 6 and a 4?
He gave the judge gave it a 4, yeah.
And
Judge gave it
on both rings.
and both rings, yeah. So
Well, that's
still
still a good
up there.
score, eh?
There's been no zeros.
There's
That
been
makes
no
a big
zeros.
difference. There's been no zeros.
The big thing is you must not score a 0, because in this instance they dropped 2 points, which is actually nothing on this level.
Yes.
They only the team is down 6 points now.
And then I think this is the 4th rider. This
Yes.
is the last rider.
Last
coming up
rider
now.
coming now.
On a nice fast horse too. I think his name's Bassian that comes out of both West there.
Yeah.
They actually drew him in the under-21 tournament. The Egyptians were out.
Okay.
And the juniors battled to control him, but the seniors are riding beautifully on him. There we go. First overarm technique, and he actually misses the second ring. So
Yeah, that's
viewers might think
interesting.
we don't know what we're talking about.
Quite true. So the team dropped the 6-pointer there on this ring, on this run. But overall, it was still a pretty decent score for the team, eh?
Yes, no, I think one of the better scoring teams that have come
Yeah.
through. Pakistan, this is a team I'll be interested to see here. I think they've had some South African coaches out of Pakistan. I think
They have.
Dalian Baksa went out there. She was coaching them before the qualifier. So they're definitely going to come with overarm technique here.
Yeah.
We've done the overarm technique, so very steady riders there. They won their qualifier there in Lahore. Qualifier took place in Lahore. Actually, very close qualifier between Jordan and Pakistan. I was privileged to be invited to go to be there, and it was absolutely wonderful to see what's happening in Pakistan as far as the ITPF 10 pegging is concerned.
Yes, the standard has increased a lot.
There we
Yep.
go. Look at that.
There we go. That's a full house, 6-6. Just watch the rider as he salutes the crowd.
Yeah.
Very chuffed with himself, eh?
And yesterday they were in the lead, and Saudi took it away from them right at the end.
Yeah.
So they got a point to prove. They were winning day 2, and it was on the last run. I mean, they needed 18 points on the last team run, and they only got 12, and that put them into second position yesterday. So I think they're a bit disappointed. They've also put a lot of preparation in. I mean, they came out to check the conditions. They sent the under-21 team out to check the conditions. South Africa, Egypt also came out with the under-21 team. We had a level of competition there in Beaufort West. But the same coaches came out, so you know what they were doing. They were out to suss out the
most
situations. You know?
43 over there, 43 over there.
So yeah, just check there. Looks like it looks like they're just checking one of the riders' numbers there. All the riders have been given a number. You have to ride in your order or your sequence. So they're just checking that. Otherwise, the rider could be disqualified if he's not riding his right sequence. So you'll see the red flag come out.
The red flag, yeah.
Because if he had ridden out of sequence, it could have had
A
some
detrimental
serious
effect,
on
eh?
it. So they don't want to make that mistake. That's why we've got these marshalling judges at the bottom, just to make sure that doesn't happen easily. So it's very important, because it can cost a team a lot of points. That they wouldn't want. I mean, they could lose 18 points. If it was just a normal pegging, you could maybe lose 6. But in an instance like this, you would lose 18 points.
Yeah, that's just too much. I mean, that'll throw you down the rankings.
Yes. And nobody wants that. Yeah.
Most definitely.
43, you've got to come now. Sorry, we'll just correct you down.
So they also chatted to the technical delegate there, just to explain to the viewers that there's a technical delegate from ITPF who also just confirms a few things. He's like the watchdog for ITPF to make sure everything happens according to plan. And yeah, he's just given his input. He's happy. It looks like the red flag's still up. So maybe they're still checking.
I wonder what the problem is.
There's Fahad, just to give you a bit of background there. Fahad Hussain, he's from Qatar. One of the younger judges coming out of Qatar, came through to be on our jury panel. And then Rafat Awad, he's been here. He came down actually on a coach's, a judge's.
Rena, we've got a flag there going.
Oh, we've got a flag.
We've got a flag, so let's see what the next Pakistan rider is going to do.
Very talented young rider, this Ullah, Abdul Jahad Ullah, very talented rider. You'll see there, overarm, as I said, overarm technique's going to come over, 6 points. Yeah.
Another full house.
Yeah, you can see they're a bit tentative. They're a little bit. They're not sure what to expect from the underfooting conditions. This is something they wouldn't be used to. They wouldn't ride in any of these conditions in Pakistan. Usually be sort of drier, warmer. So they don't often get this. And if it rains, it's a monsoon, so they wouldn't ride.
True.
So this is like a little bit of a tester for them, but well done. And it's a young team, this, and I think Pakistan have come to play. And yeah, they're going to want to get back at Saudi today with the scores, I'm pretty sure. They're definitely one of the teams, if you're putting money on only this morning, you'd be putting money on Pakistan.
Well, interesting, as we said, the top teams are there. There's really not a lot of points separating the top teams, and we've already seen that the Pakistanis have put their claim in the ground. They've had 2 perfect runs now. And one of the other top teams was Egypt. You saw that Egypt struggled in the middle order. I think it was rider number 2 and rider number 4 that missed some objects. Let's see what their number 3 rider is up to, and if they can continue their good form.
Yes, no, I think so. And I think they're very well prepared. As I said, we spoke earlier, the coach is coming out earlier in the year. To check the scene out, to know sort of how we do things here in South Africa, so they can be prepared for that. I just want to check the name of this rider. I think he's Nabar Abbas. Very good rider.
Wow,
There you go.
that's another perfect score.
Another
666.
And his horse wasn't running perfectly at all. You could see he had to work on that horse.
Yes, he was. He was at one stage on the right hand side of the horse, and then on the left hand side of the horse. But he did everything perfectly.
You're right. And it comes there fourth. This is. I just want to check on my sheet list again. Yeah, this sheet list is Nazar Abbas. Actually, not the previous rider. I said it was Nazar Abbas. The previous rider was Wajahatullah. But Nazar Abbas, he's been in the medals on both days, I think, at the World Champs, day 1, day 2. So he's having a good champ. So we're expecting a full house from him. I don't think he's going to leave anything behind.
Yes, well, let's see. And here he comes.
Riding one of the fillies out of Eastern Cape. Potentially good next 10 pegging horse.
Oh, what a pity. As you saw, as he was pegging for the peg, the horse moved to the right.
You're quite right.
And that forced him to miss the peg. But I'm sure he scored 4 points there, eh?
I think he scored 4. You're right. Something wasn't so nice there. I don't know if it was a shift in weight that the horse reacted to, but something wasn't quite correct. All the horses seen something he didn't like.
No, most definitely. I was watching the horse moved to the right, and he was already busy pegging. So still an exceptional score. The between four riders, they only managed to lose 2 points, which puts them right up there in the first position now, eh?
Yes, I'm pretty sure they're going to be there. We're going to actually ask them quickly to send us some of the scores through before this run starts.
Yes, while Brendan gets those scores, which we could give through to you, I'm just going to say to you now, we are preparing for the second run. The second run, if the cameras are on the track, you will see that the peg is actually now only a 4 centimeter peg or a 40 millimeter peg. So it's a lot more difficult. The rings stay the same size, which is 6 centimeters. But the peg size has actually come down or actually decreased to 40 millimeters, which makes it a lot more difficult at the end of the day. Are you back, Brendan?
Yes, I'm back. Thanks, honestly. Yeah, definitely this is going to make a difference. And this is where the talented riders come through. Am I right? Yeah. We're just going to chuck a few scores out there. We'll see quickly. We've got Saudi Arabia. Our top scorers, Anas, you can see our top scorers, Pakistan, 70. So we were quite right in our thoughts. Pakistan scoring a 70 there. We go up the scores again, and then we've got a 60 for both South Africa and Saudi, and what looks like India.
And India.
So just that's on the days.
Unbelievable.
Scores, but 10 points ahead there.
10 points. So Pakistan has picked up 10 points, which firmly puts them in first place, isn't that?
Yes, you're quite right. That firmly puts it for the day. And it's not too far behind on 59.5. Let's not chuck those Egyptians behind. And as we're talking about that, we see there goes Saudi Arabia.
Saudi just
and they've picked up that 4 centimeter peg that we were talking about. Made it look easy there. That should Rashid Almari. And Rashid is he's also been on the podium a few times this week. So he's on form. Yes, so just to confirm, so far for the day, this is not the overall results, but in 9th place we have Yemen with 30, Norway with 34. There, Yemen battling, as we said. I would have put money on them at the beginning of the week. Oman 55.5, Jordan 60, Egypt 59.5, South Africa 60 points, Saudi 60 points, India 60 points, and Pakistan 70. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 very close. Pakistan 10 points ahead, and the other 3 teams just lingering behind. So let's see what happens now. This 4 centimeter peg is going to make a big difference.
Yes, I agree.
And I'll tell you what, the Saudis, they've been riding. They just don't relinquish their lead when they've got
just
it.
Look at that, eh? They are just riding very aggressive to try and get that position back.
You're quite right.
They probably, if we looked at last night's overall score, they led by, I think, 6 points, last night.
Yeah. So Pakistan would have put something in the mix there, because Pakistan were actually second yesterday at 276 points, and Saudi were up with 292 points. So there was about call it 18 or 19 points difference, and there's now 10 points between. So Pakistan made about 10 points on Saudi, about 6 points difference.
Yeah, that's great.
Just on quick calculations.
That just shows you the level of competition. It's very, very high level at this moment of time. Let's see what the third rider does.
Yeah, this is going to have a big bearing on what happens now. Is what the second and third rider. Oh, he was very close. Remember I told you our series been riding very well. He's been on the podium.
Yeah, you'll see the peg is also still in the ground. So if there's a mark, it would be a 2. Let's just listen to the judge.
And just to explain to the viewers, that ring that lies in the ground, if it's carried to the peg, it's fine. It gets the full points for that.
Oh, thanks for that.
So 0.
So the lance in this instance, for the viewer's sake, the lance moved the peg, but there was no mark on the face of the peg. You need to score a mark on the face of the peg to actually earn the 2 points.
You're quite correct there. So that would be sort of what we would call a brush.
Yes.
A brush, or sometimes I mentioned can dig out sometimes. Come out of the ground without a mark. It's just been dug out by the force of the whip. The
Of the
force of the
weapon,
equipment
yeah.
actually going into the ground. And then our fourth rider again from Zat Hussein Omar Asiri. Also, as we said, he had a full house in the last run. Brilliant. His horse runs good pace. The faster the horse runs, it brings the more even it is. So it actually, there we go, close.
Close. That looks like a very solid 4 that he scored on the peg. We'll hear what the judge says. 664.
He's happy with that.
He's
yeah.
happy with that 4. So that's actually a very good score on the 40mm peg. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are able to score a 6 on the 40mm peg, you've done very, very well. To even score 2 or 4 on that 40mm peg means a lot for the teams. Don't you agree,
Yes,
Brendan?
I totally agree with you, and I think they're only 6 points down on the 4 riders on the 4 centimeter peg. So that's going to really elevate them. So Pakistan are probably watching this.
Yeah.
These managers are quite astute. They'll be writing a few scores down, so they know exactly what they require.
Yeah, no, they know exactly what they need to do. I see all the team managers are sitting around with their pens and their books, making their calculations and making sure that they know what the team needs to do.
You're right, and also they can't swap riders within this event, but they can swap riders for the next event. So they'll be calculating what they need to do and who their best rider is of their top 5 to put in for the next
True,
event.
that was our first Jordan rider. That did not go so well. I saw that one of the rings were missed as well as the peg. It was a 060. So this rider actually lost or just missed 12 points on this level is way too much. This is going to cost the team a lot.
Yeah,
Don't
that
you
was-
agree?
Yes, that was Ahmad Aslan. Yes, unfortunately, as I said, the Jordanians won day 1, and they seem to have had gone into what I call a hangover period. After that, just haven't been able to capitalize on their
Yeah,
lead on
true.
the first day. Sort of celebrated maybe too much after the
Yeah.
first day. When you
But
do
even
that,
yesterday they were struggling. Hey,
yeah, that's why I said a hangover period there. You know, they're sitting in that hangover period, just can't get out of it.
yeah.
But yeah, overall
Here's the
technique.
next rider.
He's a very neat rider. This
Wow, just look at that one.
one, yeah.
What a
666.
perfect score, 666.
And you see how far his point went through. It shows that he was in the correct position. His point was far through the peg there. Beautiful. Sometimes you can break the peg, and you don't want to leave it up to the judge. You want to take the peg with
Make
you.
sure you carry it.
Make sure you carry it. Yeah.
Something that I saw from that rider is the aggressiveness in which the rider rode.
Yes.
It's absolutely amazing. You can even at a distance see that this rider is so focused. It's just not true,
And
eh?
his balance was good. You could see his balance.
Very
excellent
much
there.
so.
The horse was running smoothly. I don't know if you saw when they were putting in the peg there, they used that angle plate.
Yeah.
That's to make sure, let the viewers know, that's to make sure that each peg is put in at the same angle, the same depth, that it's fair for everybody. So it's good innovation, you know, just to make sure.
All right,
it's all-
Brendan, there's our next rider.
Yeah, we're still with Jordan, Hussam Al-Zakaleh, also for the Jordanian rider.
Whoa, that's another good score.
Yeah, brilliant.
Another 18.
Beautiful. Just
Wow.
that first rider that's let them down. Otherwise, the next two have been great. Eh?
Yeah.
You know what's been interesting, Anas, is on this this Jordanian team have actually only used their 4 top horses. They get
Really?
the option of the 5th, but they haven't been using the 5th horse. So obviously they're not comfortable on the 5th horse. So
They've
they've
just been
rotating
using
their
the
4 horses.
horse.
Yeah,
Ah,
They've
good.
and they haven't rotated a rider. They haven't used their reserve rider, so they've obviously got confidence in the
4 riders.
4 riders that they've
Yeah,
got.
that's
So,
another thing
yeah.
that our viewers need to hear, that each team consists of 5 riders. The team manager / coach or coach can change riders between after each event. The rider has to finish the event, and that creates a lot of opportunity as well. but also it could create some inconsistency. Isn't that
You're
true?
quite correct. You're quite correct. 'Cause sometimes managers or coaches feel obliged to use the reserve because he's come all the way. They need to use him in some position. But the Jordanians have opted. They've stuck to just their four and they've left the reserve out.
Brendan, let's talk a bit about our South African team that's getting ready for their run now. Our first rider is going to be Burger Hackroot.
There, just that slight slip. I'm sure the Jordanians were hoping to take that because they'd had
A
two
shame.
very good runs.
Let's hear if he scored.
Let's see what Mr. Rafat.
660
So obviously no strike on
on the peg.
the face of the pig there. And just again, you turn a matchbox on its side. That's as big as what this pig is.
Yes,
basically, not
unbelievable.
on the face of a. And at high speed like this, you're doing 7 seconds maximum over this distance.
Yeah,
It's difficult
just
to
for our
take,
viewers' sake, roughly our South African horses roughly average a speed of 42 kilometers per hour under normal circumstances. Let's have a look at our first rider coming, and that would be Johan Jordan, isn't that? Or Burger
I think it's
Hackroot?
Burger Hackroot. Look at the two Hackroot's on first
Yeah.
for South Africa.
Yeah, he comes.
Here goes Burger. He had a full house in the first run. Let's see what he can do. It's this 4 centimeter peg that we need to. Oh, close. Yeah,
I could
close,
see
close.
a strike on the peg there. Let's just wait for the officials.
And his wife, Beverly Hackroot, to follow.
He got a
Number
2.
five.
He got a 2.
I think we so needed the 6 points though.
Yeah.
We just don't.
True.
We're just not converting those last few points. I know we speak about others missing 1-2 small points. It's still good, but for South Africa, we need the full points to move up the
Yeah, true.
the ladder.
And for our viewers' sake, you saw, I don't know if the television camera gave us a clear shot. I could clearly see the lance strike the peg on the side. You're talking about a centimeter. If he struck the peg a centimeter to the left, he would have carried the peg.
You're quite right. You're quite right. But that's what all balance and technique's about, I suppose.
True.
That's why we all do it. It's not. Oh, there, Beverly. Second time she's done it.
Second one.
Yeah, hard lines, Beverly.
Sorry about that, Beverly.
And she took the peg with such confidence. You see how she's through. I mean, the difficult part now of this event is actually the peg because they've made it smaller.
Yeah.
The ring should actually be consistently on your
Yeah.
line, so you should-
But you could clearly see that Beverly was looking at the peg
Yes, yeah.
before she struck the ring.
You're quite right.
And that is a common problem that sometimes arises when you are so focused on the peg that you don't look at your last ring.
It's always important to complete the first action. The first action's the first ring, the second ring.
Correct.
And sometimes your attention just turns to the peg that split second before.
Yeah.
And you usually clip it at the bottom because
yeah.
the last point's moved. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we are making ready. The track is ready for
It's Johan Jordan.
Johan Jordan. Let's see what he does.
We're looking for a full house from Johan. He's, as I say, a very experienced rider. Very smooth. There we go.
Wow, that's what we needed.
Well done, Johan.
Well done, Johan. That's a full house. That's 18 points. We needed those 18 points, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
A lot of pressure on Armand van der Merwe,
yeah, to
lining
actually
up at the
complete
back there. He knows at this stage what he needs to do for South Africa. Believe you me. Our riders always watch one another, and we know as he lines up there, he knows exactly what he needs to do. He knows that he has to perform at least an 18 points for the team to just get us back there where we need to be. Eh?
Yes, you're right. We're about 10 points down now on the first three riders, and I'm just checking the scores because we'll probably want to go back and see what India and Saudi do because they sort of we sort of lingering in second, third, and fourth place all on the same score.
Correct.
So we're about 10 points down. So we make a quick calculation. We're able to sort of see where we stand. So Armand, we need a full house from him. Yeah,
I hope he.
sure he's always
I
been
wish
a
I
number
could.
4
I
rider.
wish
right?
I could whisper this in his ear.
Yeah. There's a bit of technique to this too because some riders are used to riding number 1, which calls the front, actually creates the opportunity. And hard lines there, Armand. That was close.
Hard lines, Armand, very close.
Very
You probably saw the peg move.
0.
That's a
unfortunately.
0,
It was a brush,
unfortunately.
yeah, we were needing that. So 16 points down over the 4 riders. You'd say not really what we were looking for. We were wanting something.
We are continuing down the same path, it seems, and heartbreaking
Yeah, we just
for
not,
us South Africans, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, eh?
Yes, yeah. And as we say that, we're starting to get a bit of rain down on the track. See how far we get before the ground jury calls anything. It's still not bad enough to stop, but definitely going to affect. You might find them just call us off for a small bit of time. Yes, getting back to South Africa, yes, probably one of our drawbacks that we actually don't compete much on the 4 centimeter pig. Am I right?
That is one of the contentions issues in South Africa at the moment. It's been for the past 4 or 5 years, where South Africans have not adapted to the international 10 pegging standard in terms of riding on the 4 centimeter pegs on a regular basis. And I do think that has a detrimental effect. We can see that. It's not our riders' fault. It's really I would say, rather say it's a poor decision that we made 4 or 5 years ago not to transform. But I'm sure that South Africa will realize that they are really their own worst enemy at this moment of time, and that they will adapt.
Yes, no, I'm sure, because I mean we are one of the top 10 pig countries in the world. We've relied on our top riders to strike those pigs without, without riding them in serious competition, only practicing on them. Yeah,
True.
now conditions are getting difficult, and there, full house
Wow,
from
wow,
Oman
wow.
there in the rain. There seems like a bit of sun. Well done to Oman in that bit of rain. He's taken both. It has quite an effect. The speed of the horse, your eyes, water coming into your eyes, especially if you've got glasses, you might have a problem. But yeah, the Oman carried that. That was a challenge, and they've passed that challenge.
Well, you know, I think the challenge now is for everybody. You know, it's the weather conditions are really deteriorating pretty bad now. It will be interesting to see how long they will continue along this path before they stop.
Yes, no, you're quite correct. We'll see. Quite correct, yeah. And the cold's also going to have an effect down the road, because all of a sudden there's a chill factor that comes into play. It's a cold wind that's bearing down with the rain. Footing conditions are still good. That's not going to be affected with this little bit of rain. There we go, Oman. Looks like whatever it is, it's bringing out the best in the Omanis.
True, eh?
They're tackling the conditions head on.
I see our television crews running around and covering all our equipment, but our officials and we are standing in the rain. Not ideal 10 pegging conditions that we are having at the moment, but the conditions are the same to everybody. So what do they say? Man up, eh?
Yeah, man up. Get on with it.
Man up. Let's
We've got to
continue.
finish this. We've got to finish this. There's no time extensions allowed on it, so we've got to finish it. As I say that, the wind subsides a bit and feels a bit better. We actually both commentating from sort of outside arena or outside office, if I could call it that. And yeah, we with our faces in the wind,
Freezing.
and it's quite cold. There, that was Safwan from Oman. Safwan a miss on the first second. Safwan was the top rider in day 2. He actually got the gold medal, so he'll be a bit disappointed with that. But then, yeah, he's probably been standing on the corner there in that cold wind, so he's probably a little bit stiff. The horses also get stiff in this type of weather. I think all of us don't like to run in weather like this, especially if you've been standing. So yeah, it does make it difficult.
As we said, not ideal conditions, but this is what it is, and we really just need to adapt and do our best.
Yeah, and good by Oman. I just want to see how far. Oman was about 6 points, 5.5 points behind South Africa after the first run. So they did quite well there. We were busy talking while I think one of the riders came through, so I didn't see, but they nearly all had full score. So they'll be moving up after that, I'm pretty sure.
Quite
And
true.
then inconsistency from your men still there. they just also not their talent from the last qualifier, and they're just not transferring here in South Africa. Maybe the conditions here are not suiting them. Difficult to say. They actually came out a few days earlier. They didn't use it to practice because the facilities weren't there for them, but they just wanted to acclimatise a bit, and maybe that sort of I don't know if that's affected them at all, but yeah, they just haven't transferred their talent to the track at this stage. Looks like the ground jury, they keep going. They're not calling a stop to anything. Yemen are still on the track, and this is the second rider, Abdulaziz Omar. Well done. Abdulaziz Omar makes it look easy. Well done, Abdul. A bit of rain in your eyes, coming down the track doesn't make it easy. But 18 points. Yeah, they confirm 18 points for Abdulaziz. Abdulaziz Omar, one of the young riders, doing so well. They're really doing well for Yemen. But unfortunately, they're just not as a team gelling too well to bring up the points. And then we bring in our third rider now, or third of, no, it's our fourth rider, I think, Bilal Al Sabri. Bilal Al Sabri will bring up the rear here for no, it is. It's both Bilal and Abdullah still to ride. There. This is Osama.
Oh,
sorry,
got
Osama.
a beautiful
peg. Beautiful peg on it. Just unfortunately missed that first ring. That's going to cost them. Not one of the riders going through full. It's going to hurt them in terms of score. They are sort of bottom on the points table today, even behind Norway, with only 30 points. So they actually need full houses to move up here.
Quite true.
As I said, the 3 days just hasn't gelled for them at this stage. We're expecting more from them.
And here is one of our fastest South African horses. I think in these conditions, it could be to your advantage to have a horse that runs a good line. Although things are coming along quite quickly when you do it at quite a speed.
You're right.
Let's see what the rider can come up with.
Yeah, you've actually got a bit more, let's say, wind resistance coming to you when the horse runs faster. You see also he's got Bilal, he's wearing glasses, so it will affect him slightly, especially with that rain. That rain will definitely affect him at that speed. Unfortunately, second one 0 and the peg 0 there for Bilal.
Yeah, that makes it difficult. That was an expensive run.
You're right. Yeah, and as I say, one or two of the riders getting through early would have been alright. This is going to affect, let's say, the teams that are drawn a bit last. So the draw does make a difference sometimes. The conditions aren't always the same when you come down. So it's important sometimes that you get drawn, you have a lucky draw.
Well, the draw in this instance most definitely made a difference. Our first number of teams had better conditions, and the latter teams riding in slight rain, which could have make a difference in terms of scoring points.
They're still in the lead.
There we go, Norway.
Norway, well
Norway
done.
making a comeback. You'll be happy about that, honest. It's
Yeah.
your team, you the PRO.
My horse and my team.
Your horse and your team. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So you'll be happy that they...
That's a
that
full
they
score
come
for
to-
them. That was actually brilliant.
Yeah, great. They'll be happy with that. Because as I said, 2 days they've battled, and today they're sort of coming back,
Yeah, most
So
definitely.
they'll be chuffed about that. They'll
Yeah.
be chuffed about that.
The other Akram brother is going to come now. He rides one of the greys, or grey horse, and he was very heartbroken yesterday when the horse was lame. And today the horse is ready again, so he's very excited to perform on this mare. Let's see what he
That's
does.
nice. So obviously opted not to swap the horse, to keep him.
Correct.
And then use him if he comes right, because it might just been a small something that the vet saw. So let's see how he does. They've got one full ass. Second ring looks good. Oh,
Whoa.
close. That was close.
But that's a good
There you go.
score.
Still
That's
good
a
score.
6 and a 4, so that's a very good score.
You're quite right. 664. Great,
Yeah,
great score
no.
actually.
Like this Norway team can feel very, very chuffed with themselves after their first two riders. They're only down with 2 points, and they have 2 riders to follow. The other 2 riders of the Norwegian team is the less experienced or lesser experienced riders.
Yeah, the 2 Akrams, they've done quite a bit of international pegging, so
Yeah,
they're quite,
yeah.
and as you said, they've done a lot of training in Saudi, so they're quite experienced. It's their 2 backup riders, you could say, that are still coming through the ranks.
Yeah, true.
And Marie, she's been there, so yeah, she's coming on as well. One of the lady riders. Nice to see, as I say, a lady, also from the
We've got a
international
red
teams.
flag up for Norway, sorry.
Obviously,
But
just-
I can promise you,
Our
in
next
another
rider
4 years'
is,
time, you'll
number
see a different
28,
team.
Marie Bucko.
You'll see a
Yes,
different team.
yes,
Really,
I
you
think,
will.
yeah. I think this that they might have slipped in the back door through the qualifying process, but I think this will do them wonders. You know, they know where they fit in now, and they'll take it from there. You know.
True, and this will boost their self-confidence something incredibly, and it will have a huge effect on their tent pegging going back home and just gaining more experience, and they knowing exactly what to do in terms of preparation for a World Qualifier and a World Cup. Eh?
You're right, and I'm pretty sure they've tapped you. I've been an ex-international rider,
Now we need sunblock now.
as to
please,
some
for our
information
officials. If
and
somebody
sort
has
of how
some
wow
sunblock,
you go
sun's
about
coming
things.
out.
No, they
I'm
most
pretty
definitely
sure.
have, and that is why we're there. We want to grow our tent picking family
And
bigger
ice cream.
worldwide, and that's what's very important to all of us.
Yes, no, I think that's a great thing. I think it's a great thing what South Africa did. They've given each team these a PRO that's
Ladies and
very
gentlemen,
competent
as you
tent
know,
peggers. That have been
this is
internationals
game
that know
3
exactly
of
what's
this World
required.
Cup.
They can assist them. They can help
So,
even the managers
we've
make
got
some
teams
decisions if
fighting
they
out
need.
for the World Cup
So
trophy.
yeah, great on the South
then
African organising committee for
Some
doing
teams
something
that
like
might
that.
not have done so
As I said,
well.
Norway will.
Through the
will
last 2
benefit
days,
greatly
they're fighting for a
from
podium
your
position
experience.
today, hoping
And
to
look at
get
that!
Wow,
As I
look
said
at
there,
that.
well done.
We were
Marie
just
Bucko.
talking about the experience, and here she comes and she rides a full house.
And that
Maria.
is, I mean, I don't think they've dropped any points. They've only dropped 2 points.
They've only dropped 2
Over
points.
3 riders. So great for
So
Norway.
that was
Well
their
done.
first rider. If the 4th rider can continue this form, wow. For such an inexperienced country, I can say that is exceptional riding. Exceptional riding.
No, I
Not
agree
so.
with you. I agree with you. Well, they won. They're taking the bit between the teeth and they're going with it. You know.
Yeah, it
That's
just
great.
shows you, eh?
Shows you.
the last rider
Let's
from
see what the
Norway.
last rider is up to.
It's Hussein. How do you pronounce his name? Anas Hussein. Eh?
Yeah, Hussein, yeah.
No, Hussein. Yeah. Also, he's one of the least experienced in their team.
All ready up there.
So remember, this is not a professional sport. So some of the countries coming out, I mean, they all got jobs, and 1 or 2 riders maybe can't come out at that specific time, especially on short notice. And you can see that just in his balance
Yeah,
on
you
the
can
track.
see, yeah.
You can see the experience in the balance there.
Yeah. But he still managed to score. He still managed to score 4 on his peg.
Yes, you're right.
Unfortunately, he missed his 2 rings.
Those 2 picks
But
make it
the other 3 riders had an
Peg without a
exceptional
ground, so
run,
that means
and
4 points.
that will mean a lot for their self-confidence going forward.
I think you're right. I think they're going to be very happy with that result. They'll
Yeah.
take that result any day of the week.
I would.
Especially under these conditions, knowing that the other riders, the conditions are going to bother them, you know. And they're actually top level riders who worried about conditions. They've sort of taken that out of their problems and just doing what they have to do. And that said, the sun's all of a sudden out, so the rain's sort of gone. I'm
Hey,
all of a sudden
thank-
warming up. My hands were getting cold. I'm all of a sudden warming up. So I think the competition as well. Here comes that Indian team we're talking about, underarms. They also had 2 or 3 full houses. There we go. Oh, close.
Close.
Remember,
I
India
think that
were
could be-
equal with South Africa, remember? So we said what South Africa lost about 12 points, am I right? 12 and 6, 16 points.
Yeah, that's a 4 on that peg.
So India's
Brendan.
down 2 there already. We can, if we can sort of keep a calculation and see where they sit.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Indians, they're not going to allow 16 points to drop there.
No.
They're just too
No,
experienced for
they're
that.
such a quality
Norway
outfit
goes
and
on.
very competitive nation, you know.
Yes.
Our viewers will know from cricketing, the Indians are very competitive. Pakistanis are very competitive. These are top teams all over the world. And even in tent pegging, We are really great rivalries, competing against one another always.
Yes, and you can see with the professionalism of their coaching staff, the way they've handled things when they arrived, exceptionally neat. This is one of the countries that impressed me sort of on the first few days. There we go, second
Wow.
one. There we go. You see, they just
That rider had a full run on the first run as well, eh? I can remember him, so he's actually full.
You're right. Yeah, and he's just made in time. I thought when he's coming down, his horse might be a little bit slow. He often just subject to the gait of the horse. You're not sure how fast it's travelling. You think it's not, but full house to him, eh?
Yeah.
So there they've come to play. You can see they're not going to let this.
They're not going to
they're not
leave
let this
anything to chance here in South Africa.
But maybe
eh?
because they see the Pakistanis in a row, so they've taken the pressure off their last two riders, and I think that's only going to stand them good stead now because.
Well, it's an ideal situation to be in, hey?
Yeah, and as I was preaching about the overarm technique looks better, it looks like Indians are proving me wrong.
Well, that just shows you. Let's see what the third rider does. Here he comes. Still underarm technique. 6, 6, and 6.
Third full
Wow.
house. Third full house. Oh, great. yeah.
Wow.
You can see even the crowd's acknowledging that. They know they're 10 picking here. They know they sort of got tabs on. There's
Wow.
an announcer here. He's keeping them sort of in the loop, so they know exactly what's happening here as well. There's only one rider to go, and yeah, they're full. They're full so far.
Well, this is if we can get another good run, that would mean the first full run for a country, eh?
You're right, you're right. And that's what we've been looking for.
Yeah,
What we
yeah.
were expecting, I suppose, when we left the hotel this morning. There's going to be a lot of full houses and there's going to be just a few errors, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But conditions have played a part in that.
Yeah, and most definitely. Let's
Yeah.
let's keep the last rider and
Just
have
keep
a
a good
look
eye
and
on
see.
him. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
I can't remember what technique he used. I wonder if he'll come out with that.
I'm watching. I'm watching. Here he comes. Underarm technique.
Ram, yes. Ram.
6, 6.
There we go.
Wow.
Four full houses.
Ooh,
Four full
Brendan.
houses. Brilliant, yeah. No,
brilliant,
great.
brilliant 10 picking.
Brilliant 10 picking by India. I'm sure Colonel Solanki, the coach, he's going to be elated down at the bottom. I think they're also sitting pretty in third place overall somewhere. I must just recheck the results here, but they'll send them through. They're sitting, so there we go. The announcer said
they've taken the lead
taken
now.
The lead, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Brilliant by India
Wow.
there. Yeah. That'll obviously put Egypt under pressure now because they know, look, to keep ahead of India, they're going to have to also take four full houses. And they're lucky. Oman was in the rain, and they've got sort of open sunshine. So Oman can sort of feel a bit
Slightly
disappointed,
disadvantaged,
disadvantaged by that.
Yeah.
But I suppose it is what it is, you know.
Unfortunately, that's the way things happen. Sometime on a competition day, you know, one person could get wind, the next
we go.
person gets nothing. Unfortunately, things like that happens.
And as we speak, the 6 points down there for Egypt. So already first rider under pressure. First rider under pressure is going to put the team under pressure.
Yeah, that's going to.
You could see the disappointment on his face.
And there was a point deducted for speed as well. So they only scored 11.5 out of a possible 18. They lost a half a point on speed. Let's see what the second rider is up to.
Anything can still happen, yeah, with these last two
They've all been using the underarm technique, so yeah, we commented on that first run. The points were coming down a bit slow, but let's see here. I think there's a ring missing on the first one. I think it's fallen before. Six.
No, it's actually there.
No, it's there.
All the rings are
No,
there.
you're quite correct. So that's a full house.
That was a full house.
Full house. So
Also slower, 8 seconds.
I think the
that
managers and
was
the
a-
coaches have been clever on us. They're
They're
slowing it down
slowing
under the
riders down.
conditions.
Yeah.
And they're rather taking that speed point or whatever.
Clever, eh?
Yeah, clever, yeah.
Yeah, look, this rider from Egypt just lost a point because of an 8-second run.
Yes, you're right, yeah. So he lost the whole point.
Oh, so 0.5.
Only half a point.
Half
yeah.
a point.
Which look at, they do work in the semi-decimal, so it depends how far he goes over the 8 or
Yeah.
whether you lose a full point or.
Next is
or 8
rider
point.
number 38 from Egypt.
But this horse runs quite nice and smoothly, so it will. I know I'm technically be
Mahmoud.
right with a horse that runs that smoothly. I don't know if you saw that Anas, that flinch.
Yes.
That flinch. As soon as you flinch like that in the second
Yeah.
ring,
No,
all
then
the
it's not
concentration
gonna-
goes.
Yeah,
That flinch,
unfortunately.
the caught up
And
to-
that also resulted in the peg being missed.
Yes, yeah. Because
Yeah.
as soon as you flinch, your balance moves, the horse moves. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely not good there for him. But he stands very high. You see, he stands very high. It makes him even higher. So he's got to move, let's say, well right of the gallow. That must have an effect of him. Yeah. But that said, in Egypt they ride bigger horses under the same sort of the gallows standards height, so there's no difference in that. So it's something that's maybe in practice that's come into his technique, that flinch. It's sometimes practiced in, and if coaches don't pick that
Next
up,
rider
it can
from
have
Egypt,
detrimental effects
Ali
later.
Hali.
This is
Number 37.
placing a lot of pressure on the Egyptian team, I'm telling you now.
This is Gali Gali. I enjoy always saying his name because his name is Gali Gali. So it sort of comes off the tongue nicely. So Gali Gali from Egypt. He's riding
This
that
is gonna be very
Perfect
close.
West horse. I said he's quite a fast little pony.
We've got Pakistan coming off to Egypt.
But the Egyptians like that speed. So
They've
that's
got
why
Yeah,
a
they
probably
do.
first round score.
one
there,
of he's
and
been
they
asked
ride
to slow it
overall
down, not under the conditions, but I doubt.
The
He's
second
just gonna-
position.
he's just going to give him the reins.
Yes, he is coming at quite a speed.
There we go.
Yeah, easy, eh?
Easy as that. Yeah. As I said, the horse does run smoother when it's running faster, so it's a trade-off: slower and maybe easier, or faster and smoother. It's the trade-off, I suppose, that they got to make a decision there. I suppose it depends on the horse too and what the rider feels like.
Let's see. Let's see the score.
And now here's the
Interesting.
team we've been watching. Here's this Pakistan
I
team.
think there could
Yeah.
be a bit of a surprise coming.
Interesting is that he was also following the over or the
Overarm. He was
Overarm
overarm
technique,
yes,
yeah.
He was
Overarm
technique,
technique,
So
yeah.
he's of the three, he used the overarm technique.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
So also the difference.
Rider
Some of the
Brown,
riders come from
unfortunately
different
not.
schools,
They
different
total score
academies,
112.5
different military
for
bases, whichever they
Egypt
come
there.
from. So they often practice differently there. Remember, these are international
Next
teams.
is
Their riders
number
don't come from
41,
the same club or the same
Mahmoud.
place.
From
yeah,
Pakistan.
yeah.
They mixed for this event, so they practice probably.
Our first
different venues.
Pakistani rider is on his way.
He had a full run and off. They all had nearly full.
6.
There
And,
we go.
and that's
Six.
a 4.
Oh,
close,
6,
close.
6 and a 4.
But 4 is good. 4 is good.
Yeah, excellent.
They'll be happy with that.
I think so.
They'll be happy with that. I think they're going to keep their lead here. He's sort of got a semi-style. Honestly, you see
As you
that
know, the first
it's
round,
underarm but not
Pakistan
underarm,
scored
as if he's got a bit of a
by
bent
10
arm.
points. They were just
You can't really say which one
6.5
he's, which
points,
technique he's
behind
using.
Saudi Arabia
But it's working for him,
overall
so well
first
done.
position, up to
The
8 points.
important thing is that you need to get your objects, and that's the critical part. And that's something I've been enjoying about our international riders is their focus is
Yes,
unbelievable.
Yeah, quite right. It's actually a pity these conditions are like they are because the level's just usually upped if the
Okay,
if the
here's our
conditions
next
are perfect.
rider. 6. And
Wajat
6.
Ullah.
Look
Yeah.
at that. Fuller.
Well
Very
done.
talented rider out of Pakistan. He's a young rider there, one of the youngest riders. In time, 6'6".
Also a very experienced horse, one of our top South African ten-picking horses. Been so for quite a number of years. So good rider and a good horse.
So he's obviously there from your area.
Yes, it's Burger Ackroyd's horse.
Oh, Burger Hicko. So he's
Yes.
actually one of the competitors here.
One of
riding for
our
South
South
Africa's one of his
African
horses.
riders, his horse, and he's been very successful on this horse for a number of years.
Oh, yeah. I wonder what it feels like to be in a competition seeing someone else ride your horse. It's obviously not allowed to ride your own horse, so it's been put in the pool for someone else to ride.
Yeah, a bit
I
of a
suppose
joke,
he's-
you know. One of our Northwest horses the owner was saying to me that the international rider is riding his horse better than himself.
Well, I suppose he can call himself non-professional. I don't call himself professional. Oh, great. 6-6. There we
Hey,
go. Check
well
it
done.
out.
6-6-6.
Yeah, listen,
Well
Pakistan,
done.
India, they're just living up to the pressure, aren't they?
Yeah,
They're
very
just
much.
not letting it go. That's maybe where we as the South African team have fallen just behind. We just haven't been able to convert that pressure. And that's where we usually, that's what we actually usually so good at.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're just
yeah.
not getting it right.
It's
at
all
this
it's all
specific
about
competition.
focus, man. It's
You're
all
quite
about
right.
focus.
You're quite right. But yeah,
Yeah.
well done. That's one Pakistani rider left. It's nearly only 2 points down, I think. on the
Yeah,
three riders.
only
So-
2 points down.
So they're keeping their lead, I
Yeah.
think whichever way. It's just India. Well, India can only catch them by 10 points behind. So put it this way, the
Let's
last
see,
rider's
how's
got
that?
8 points to play with to keep
Yeah,
the lead. You know?
let's see. Here he comes.
He'd like to, on overall score, try and keep it up there.
6-6.
Ah,
Oops.
he was close. He was close.
Well, that's 12 points.
Uh,
They lost 6, so he's
6 and 2, they've lost 8, so they're going to keep their lead. They're going to keep their
they're
lead.
going to keep their lead. Yeah.
India, yeah, they're probably just going to keep the lead by about 4 points to India. But that's not the end of the world. This is just one competition in for the morning. So we're now going to move over to the lemons and pegs
After this,
competition.
yes.
Yes,
Yeah, that's also always a very interesting competition.
yes.
The lemons, it's really exciting stuff. I wonder, are they going to break now?
We'll hear what the break is. I think they probably need to get us some scores ready. So I think we'll mute for a while and then come back on air a bit later.
Okay, good.
All right, just a 5-minute break. We're just going to move the track also. It's breaking up a bit. Total score for Pakistan 134. We will be giving you the total scores of the ring and peg. For our guests, we will be doing lemons afterwards. After this, we're just having a 5-minute break. I'll be giving you the total scores as soon as they've been verified. Thank you. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some scores that have been verified. Total scores. Day three. In the 9th place, we've got Yemen with 66. 8th position, Norway with 90. 7th position, Jordan, 110. 6th position, Egypt, 112 and a half. 5th position, Oman, 105. 4th position, 116 points, South Africa. 3rd position, Saudi, 122. 2nd position, India with 130. And leading the pack, the first position with 134 points, Pakistan. Unofficially, I think we still have Saudi leading the pack on total scores for the 3 days. But it's close, it's close. I think Pakistan just behind them now. I think they're like 2.5 points behind the leaders. So anything could still happen today. Any little slip can mean that you don't get that World Cup to take home. And the weather conditions aren't easy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, they're just setting up the track.
feedback to the viewers is that you can win each day 1, 2, 3 individually, and then you win the cup overall. So
yes, that's.
You're going to give us the.
I've got
the
day three. The day 3 scores.
We would like
After
to
the
welcome
ring.
the Ambassador of Pakistan,
After the rings and pegs
Mr. Hassan.
are as follows. We're going to start off from the 9th position, and 66 points is Yemen, 90 points Norway, Jordan scored 120 points, Egypt
His Excellency
in the 6th
Hassan
position
from Pakistan.
with 112
He's
points,
Ambassador in South Africa.
Oman
Welcome,
with
sir. Very nice
115
to
and a
join
half
us
points,
tonight.
and then our own
Sorry
South
for the
African
bit of
team
cold
ended
weather.
in the 4th place with 116 points. Saudi ended with 122 points, India 130 and Pakistan 134 points. So the South Africans have been able to slightly creep back into contention. They've crept back. They're in the 4th position with the rings and pegs, which means that they would have also crept up with their total score slightly. I'm going to hand over to Brendan, who will
1, 2.
talk you through the overall score
Teams.
as it is
Teams,
after
you can
the
also
rings
going
and pegs.
down to the
What's
starting
interesting
point,
there,
please.
Anas,
Follow
is
us.
that
Thank you very much.
Pakistan, India only 4 points between first and second for the day. Saudi slightly down, so that's where the overall point is going to hurt them, 122, and South Africa 116. So we to move into third, we're only about 6 points behind, so we can watch the Saudis there. But that's just for day 3. On overall scores, we got Saudi in first place still with 414.5 points, and only 4 points behind, or 4.5 points, is Pakistan with 410. India 402, Egypt 373, Oman 372. So there's a competition within a competition between those two countries, Oman and Egypt. And then Jordan 353, still down. I think after the first day they were first, so they'll be a bit disappointed. Remember, this is just after the first competition of the day. We still got lemons. Then we've got South Africa sitting at 3, 4, 5. They've crept up, but they've still got a lot of hard work. I think it's maybe not going to be possible for them, but it's never over until the fat lady sings, they say. Then we've got Yemen with 276 and Norway right down with 242. So the big competition is between, let's say, India, Pakistan and Saudi at this stage, which we'll be looking at.
Yeah, you're 100% right. So, yeah, just talking about when these teams ride. Just talking about these teams, you'll see that Saudi is the very first team in the competition. They are the first team to ride. And Pakistan and India are some of the last teams riding and competing. We are going to be looking at the very exciting Lemons and Peg, or Lemons competition. This is very exciting. The speed of the horses are going to be pretty much the same. You'll see that the track has been moved because of all the traffic on the Rings and Pegs track. They've moved the track to a fresh track so that the horses can run pretty much more stable, and I think we're going to see a lot of action, especially between these top teams. We're going to keep you informed of what's happening all the time so that you are right up there and excited as we are. I'm very excited, Brendan. This is really panning out to be a very exceptional competition.
I agree with you.
Teams,
I agree with you, Anas. Yeah, look at that. 4 points are now in total separating Saudi and Pakistan. India, they're 14 points behind. I mean, this event is 18 points